Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Best Day at Work Ever. This was around 2007. At the time, all it took to qualify for a home loan was that you were breathing. I reluctantly took a job with a mid-sized lender that had their HQ in one state and a large office in another, where I was. We had very recently combined two local offices and moved into a shiny new building we had all to ourselves. In order to keep the servers up during a power outage, we had a massive battery backup array. They wanted these servers to remain powered for a minimum of 12 hours in case the power went out. We had 32 batteries daisy-chained together, with one unit serving as the control unit. When we moved this massively heavy battery array from the old building to the new, getting it all reconnected was one of my duties. I got them all stacked and connected and turned on. Before we had connected the servers, I made sure they were all aligned properly and at one point gave one a little bump to move it just a bit and the whole thing shut off. After double checking everything, I concluded we had a bad controller that could continue to present intermittent problems. The vice president of IT, we'll just call him VP, had flown out to oversee the move. This guy was just a kid of 23 and if I recall correctly, he was the son of a friend of the founders. He was a smart guy, just inexperienced, and had an ego that far exceeded his skills and experience. So I told him, "Hey VP, there's a fault in the battery array. If you bump it a little, it goes off." VP replies, "Don't worry about it, just get it up and running so we can get the servers connected." So I did. This was not the malicious compliance. 3 months down the road, everything in the new office is humming along and it is time to catch up on lingering tasks. I'm on the phone with the VP. He says, "Go reconfigure the controller card for the battery array with the IP address I just emailed you." You guessed it, cue malicious compliance. I knew what was very likely to happen, and I purposely did not remind the VP of the instability of the controller card. So, after the call, I grabbed a serial cable and my laptop and went down to the server room. The moment I plugged that cable into the controller card of the battery array, the entire thing went down like a drunk on an icy sidewalk. Normally, this wouldn't be a huge issue, but this was a mortgage company and it was early afternoon on the last day of the month. Interest rates had been locked and loans had to be closed. I powered the battery array back on, fired up the servers, collected my laptop and walked out. As I came up the back stairs into the main office area, it was pandemonium. No one quite understood what had happened. The VP called me and asked what the frick happened. I replied, "I only did what you told me to do." I went to reconfigure the controller card for the battery array, and then reminded him that I had previously reported it as faulty. I, of course, got the blame for the whole debacle. Hundreds of loans didn't get closed that day, the predatory lender lost out on a lot of money, and I was about to get fired. When I got back to the tech room, I started copying all my files etc. to a CD, because I knew what was going to happen. I also had a talk with the VP of Lending and explained what really happened. At the end of the workday, I was brought into the conference room by HR. The VP was on speakerphone. "This is all your fault, and I am afraid I'm going to have to let you go." I was stoic in my reply. "No, this is your fault. I warned you before that the controller was bad." He said, "You knew it was the last day of the month. You should have known to wait the next day." Then he proceeded to start yelling and screaming at me because he had to deflect because HR was right there. I stopped him in the middle of seething. I said, VP, you fired me, right?" He shot back, "You are absolutely right, I did." So I stood up, took a calm deep breath and said, "Then I don't need to sit here and listen to you," and I walked out, leaving my laptop behind. I could hear the speakerphone jumping off the conference room table as he screamed at me to come back. I stopped, laughed and kept on walking. Best day of work I ever had. The next story is called Unsatisfactory Performance. In November 2021, I worked for a small logistics company that delivers for Amazon. I applied for this position because I love driving and I'm pretty much at home on the road. I thought I should give mass delivery a try, see if I like it or not. Well, this company ruined it for me and went the extra mile to screw me off. I found out on day 1 that I didn't get any formal training. Instead, I got inducted into a nursery program that included 2 ride-alongs. This means that in my first week I deliver 50% of a normal route. On my first day, someone will come with me to show me what I'm doing. Then I'm on my own for the rest of the week. On the first day of my second week, I was moved to nursery 2, 80% of a normal route and got my second ride-along. For the entire second week, I was getting hints from pretty much everyone that I was one of, if not the slowest driver they'd ever had. Note that I had a whole 2 days of training. I don't count the rest, as I was not with anyone to train me. The rest of the story will all be about the second week. The first thing that really set me off was when the delivery app took me to an address that didn't exist. Like legit, just a big dirt lot with some bulldozers and excavators. No mailbox, no buildings, nothing. It is Sunday night, so there's nobody around to ask. So I called driver support. The conversation went as follows. I have a package that's undeliverable. The address is incorrect. Just mark it as missing. Why would I do that? I have it right here in my hands. The undeliverable button isn't working. Just mark it as missing. And then they just hang up on me. I proceed to mark it as missing and finish the rest of my route early and without incident. I returned the missing package to the warehouse, told the marshals what happened and returned the van to dispatch. When I got back to dispatch, there was a write-up rating for me because I returned a package marked as missing instead of retrying delivery. I told them what happened and was told to sign the write-up. I refused and went home for the night. On the next to last day of my second week, basically the same thing happened with another package. I was sent through the same ringer and called dispatch to explain the situation before continuing. I was told to just keep moving with my route and they'll get in contact with the warehouse. I saw no evidence of this happening, as when I returned there was a write-up rating for me, returning a package marked as missing. I said to myself that I'm done with this, it's time to do something. I reread the employee contract and found a clause that every time the van comes to a full and complete stop, it must be turned off. Oh boy, did I know what I was going to do the next day. I came into work, claimed a van, picked up my packages and proceeded to turn the van off every time it stopped. I was laughing so hard at all the people honking at me while restarting those big vans. After about 2 hours and at least 150 restarts, it wouldn't turn on anymore. I called dispatch and requested a rescue van. I then killed the rescue van and the rescue van for the rescue van. I killed 3 vans in one day. When I returned to dispatch over an hour late, they asked me what happened. The nice way of asking, what do you think you are doing? I said I was following the contract and proved myself correct in front of my dispatcher. He wrote me up for unsatisfactory performance, and I pointed out that makes 3 write-ups in a month. If he wants me to sign that, he'll have to call the boss in, then explain why I'm being written up again. I said, yeah, call your boss in. I'm sure she'd love to hear why she's being called in at 9:45 at night. He dropped the write-up. I followed up by asking if one of the faster drivers could meet me at the warehouse 10 minutes early to discuss van organization. He agreed to this. I didn't show up the next day. The last story is called The VP of Nothing. Father-in-law works for a heavy equipment manufacturer, highway making equipment, machines for gold and gem mining, etc. The machines aren't really relevant to the story, only that they are big and scary enough that everyone is very strict about safety. Well, almost everyone. This company has one IT guy. He does everything from web admin to the ID badges to the printer isn't working. So obviously he needs an office with a computer. The only problem is, most of his job is keeping the ancient assembly line machines on life support. So he's constantly on the factory floor fixing error codes on machines. One day, one of the VPs deigns to leave the plush veneer of the C-level suites to enter the plebeian office. He takes great offense to the IT guy wearing jeans, boots and a high-vis vest in their strictly suit and tie office. Protests about his job duties fall on deaf ears. And since the IT department of one person doesn't have an official C-level officer, the VP decides to write a new dress code for the IT department. Suit and tie at all times, no exceptions. IT guy shows up the next day in a suit and tie, tries to fix an error on the factory floor and rightfully gets turned away at the door for lack of safety gear. He spends a few days in his office goofing off while the errors on the factory floor grow and grow. Finally, around 3 AM one night, big production line X goes down. This is a huge contract for the company. The company might go under if this client goes elsewhere. As such, emergency procedures state all C-level executives and even the owner must be notified immediately if this line stops at any time for any reason. So the upper echelons of the company, including the VP, assembles in the boardroom to prepare for their firing spree. Around 5 AM, the IT guy is ordered to the boardroom, where they really lay into him before they fire him. Threats of blacklisting him in the industry, threats of lawsuits for damages, etc. Of course, there's the condescending, "Now, what do you have to say for yourself?" question. He unfolds a few pieces of paper from his pocket and puts them on the table in front of the owner. "This is why I have to wear a suit and tie, no matter what. This was my objection because I have to do my job properly. This is the safety officer refusing me entry for lack of safety gear. And this is the record that the VP got my emails but never responded. Not a pin drop or cricket chirp could be heard, just a faint ruffling of pages as the owner read. Finally, he spoke. Your so-called dress code is officially revoked. VP is no longer allowed to have any authority over you. Please put on safety gear and fix the machine. The rest of us will stay here all day until I'm convinced that this problem will never happen again. VP kept his job, but he was transferred to VP of a division that didn't exist and a workforce of 1. Only him. Rumor has it he's related to the owner somehow, but at least his self-righteousness can ruin the actual work being done. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.